What if I told you there's a $25 billion rumor floating around that could change the future of XRP overnight? That's right. Elon Musk, yes, the same guy who flipped the global auto industry, launched rockets for fun, and turned Twitter into X, is allegedly eyeing Ripple Labs. And if you think this is just internet hype, think again. The speculation is gaining traction. Fast. Now, let's be clear. As of today, there's no official press release, no shareholder vote, and no Elon meme confirming the deal. But several independent crypto news outlets, including the Crypto Alert, are reporting that Elon Musk has been in behind-the-scenes discussions about acquiring Ripple or initiating a deep partnership around XRP. Let that sink in, because if this turns out to be more than just noise, it could be one of the most disruptive moves in crypto history. We already know Musk has a track record of entering industries most billionaires are terrified of touching: auto, energy, space, AI, payments. So, the question isn't if Musk would enter crypto infrastructure. The real question is when, and with what weapon of choice. And right now, it's looking like XRP is high on that list. Why Ripple? Why XRP? Because unlike Dogecoin or Bitcoin, XRP isn't just a meme or a hedge. It's a bridge. It was built for utility, built for institutions, and most importantly, built to dominate cross-border payments. That aligns perfectly with Musk's vision for a global digital future, and the infrastructure needed to power it. And let's talk timing. Ripple is fresh off a partial win against the SEC. XRP is finally getting relisted on major exchanges, and institutional partnerships are ramping up again. Combine that momentum with Musk's desire to build a global financial ecosystem inside X, and suddenly the pieces don't just fit, they lock together like a vault door. So what does the $25 billion figure actually represent? Well, it's speculative, but it would likely involve Musk either acquiring a controlling interest in Ripple Labs or at minimum securing exclusive integration rights for XRP across his companies, most notably X, formerly Twitter, Starlink, and possibly even Tesla's upcoming robotaxi economy. Now imagine XRP powering payments inside a Musk-owned ecosystem, tipping creators on X, cross-border payroll for Starlink workers in remote areas, paying for Tesla rides with zero conversion costs. That's not just synergy, that's vertical dominance. And no other crypto, not even Bitcoin, has that level of enterprise-grade flexibility baked into its core. Here's what most people miss: Elon isn't just a tech CEO. He's an ecosystem architect. He didn't buy Twitter to own a social media app. He bought it to rebuild the internet, and now he needs the financial rails to plug into it. Ripple gives him that. XRP gives him that. Instantly. Globally. Legally, depending on the final outcome of the SEC lawsuit. So, while mainstream media is still busy reacting to his tweets, crypto insiders are asking the real question. What does Musk know about Ripple that the rest of the market hasn't priced in yet? Because if this rumor plays out, XRP doesn't just moon. It becomes the default transaction layer for the next generation of Musk-driven applications. And that's just chapter 1. Why Musk might actually pull the trigger on Ripple. Here's the part that's going to rattle a lot of people in both TradFi and crypto. If you actually sit down and look at the fundamentals, Elon Musk acquiring Ripple isn't just possible, it's strategically brilliant. Let's break it down. First, Musk isn't buying Ripple for hype. He doesn't need clout. He's not Logan Paul launching meme coins. He's after infrastructure. And Ripple has already built what most crypto projects are still dreaming about. An enterprise-grade blockchain payment network that's compliant, scalable, and already integrated into financial systems globally. That's not speculation. That's hard-coded into Ripple's business model. Banks, remittance providers, liquidity hubs. Ripple isn't trying to destroy the system. It's quietly becoming the system. And Musk, he doesn't want to tear down the financial world. He wants to remake it in his image. Now, let's zoom in on X, formerly Twitter. Musk has made it crystal clear that he wants to turn X into the everything app. Think payments, social media, messaging, shopping, all in one. But what's the bottleneck? Global payments infrastructure. You can't build a borderless super app on top of the old SWIFT system. You can't run real-time creator payouts or international tipping using ACH or PayPal APIs. You need something fast, liquid, scalable, and decentralized, but also compliant enough to integrate with banks and regulators. That's XRP. XRP settles transactions in 3 to 5 seconds. It can process 1, 500 plus transactions per second, and it's designed to work across currencies and jurisdictions. This isn't just a coin, it's a global liquidity tool. And most importantly, it's not vaporware. It's been live and functioning for over a decade. Now pair that with Musk's other assets, Starlink, which provides global internet access even in underbanked areas. Combine that with Tesla, which will soon roll out robotaxis and AI-powered energy solutions. These are all verticals that require instant, borderless, programmable payments. So let's not pretend this is random. Musk has a checklist. Global connectivity, Starlink, AI infrastructure, XAI Tesla Dojo, hardware, Tesla, Neuralink, real-time financial layer, this is the missing piece. And Ripple fills that gap. Let's also not forget that Ripple's real asset isn't just XRP. It's the RippleNet infrastructure. Over 300 financial institutions are already plugged in. That gives Musk an instant payment rail to deploy across his empire. No need to reinvent the wheel. He could literally flip a switch and begin settling global transactions within his ecosystem using Ripple's existing pipes. You want to send money from Nigeria to California using X? No problem. XRP acts as the bridge asset between NGN and USD, settles instantly, no banks required. That's not just convenience, that's control. And here's the kicker. Unlike other networks, XRP doesn't rely on proof-of-work mining, which Musk criticized in the past due to environmental concerns. XRP is energy efficient, scalable, and doesn't contradict his climate commitments with Tesla and solar initiatives. It's the only blockchain asset that checks all his boxes. And while people debate whether Elon should buy Ripple, the truth is, he doesn't even need to own the company to control the network's direction. A massive stake in XRP, paired with exclusive RippleNet integration deals, would be enough to tilt the entire playing field in his favor. That's the move a chess master makes. Not a trader, not a hype man, a strategist building his own financial empire. So when you hear people say, why would Musk care about XRP? The answer is simple, because XRP is the one tool that lets him bypass the entire broken financial system without burning it down. And that's exactly what he's trying to do. If Elon Musk touched Ripple, XRP's price wouldn't just pump, it'd detonate. Let's stop pretending this would be a normal price event. If Elon Musk announced even a strategic partnership with Ripple, let alone an acquisition, XRP would melt every chart, every algorithm, every liquidity pool in the market. This wouldn't just be bullish. It would be absolute chaos. Now let's break it down into phases because you need to see how fast this domino effect would escalate. Phase 1, the leak. This starts with a leak. Maybe it's from a Ripple insider. Maybe it's a cryptic Elon tweet. Something like, liquidity is the new oil, with a random X next to a Ripple emoji. Crypto Twitter goes full tilt. Speculators rush in. XRP pumps 25% in an hour. Cointelegraph posts a headline. Whale alerts pick up wallet movements. People who swore off XRP during the SEC war start foaming at the mouth. FOMO ignites, and now retail is flooding in before anything's confirmed. But it gets worse. Phase 2. The confirmation. Then comes the confirmation. Elon, through X Payments or XAI, announces a formal integration with RippleNet to power global liquidity for X. Or even crazier, he confirms he's acquired a controlling stake in Ripple Labs. That's the kill switch. Within hours, Binance volume explodes. Coinbase halts XRP trading temporarily due to order book instability. XRP breaks $1.50, then $2.20, then stalls at $3.33, right before cracking its all-time high from 2018. Hashtags trend worldwide. Hashtag XRPonMars. Hashtag Musk Ripple takeover. Hashtag XPayments. And just like that, XRP goes from being the crypto no one talks about to the only one anyone's talking about. But here's where it gets wild. Phase 3, the narrative shift. Institutions flip. The same hedge funds that sat on the sidelines during the SEC case now scramble to file XRP trust proposals. BlackRock quietly calls Ripple. JP Morgan runs internal reports titled XRP and the Musk Effect, A Threat to Swift? Retail YouTubers suddenly rebrand as XRP experts. Dogecoin maxis lose their minds. XRP is no longer the outsider. It's the center of the new monetary order. And the price? With momentum like this, you're looking at short-term spikes to $5, $7, maybe even $10, depending on how hard the speculation runs. And that's not hopium, it's velocity math. The token has a fixed supply. If global liquidity demand spikes and Elon is backing the rails, every dip gets bought. Every resistance gets crushed. And we're not even in utility mode yet. Phase 4, the utility wave. Now comes the actual integration. X Payments goes live. Content creators get paid in XRP. Cross-border transactions settle in 3 seconds. Starlink subscriptions are billed in XRP in Latin America and Sub-Saharan Africa. Tesla drops a press release that XRP will be accepted for vehicle down payments in select countries via RippleNet. At this point, we're not speculating anymore. We're executing. Demand for XRP liquidity explodes. Ripple expands ODL corridors overnight. And the price? It doesn't need hype anymore. It has function. It has flow. Now analysts are revising their models. XRP's price floor jumps to $4.50 based on transaction volume alone. Some models suggest long-term fair value targets around $15 to $20, depending on integration depth and velocity. And we haven't even discussed derivatives yet. Phase 5, the backlash. But of course, Wall Street isn't going to clap for this. There's backlash. Regulatory freakouts. SEC revisits Ripple. The IMF gets nervous. Janet Yellen gives a press conference. And Bitcoin maxis? They call this a centralized sellout. But here's the thing. The network is already online. The liquidity is flowing. The rails are set. And for the first time ever, XRP is no longer betting on a future that might happen. It's powering a system that is happening. That's not a pump. That's a financial realignment. So no, you're not crazy for thinking $10, $20, even $50 XRP becomes possible in a Musk-driven Ripple ecosystem. Because at that point, it's not just a coin. It's the core engine of an entirely new economy. Let's pause for a second and clear the air. Everything you're hearing is a speculative what-if scenario. Musk hasn't bought Ripple. No deal has been signed. This is a high-conviction thought experiment designed to challenge assumptions and open your eyes to what could happen in this market. Don't go making wild investment decisions off a voiceover. Do your own research. We're here to inform and provoke thought, not draw conclusions for you. Now, with that said, if Elon Musk did buy Ripple or even partnered with them, it wouldn't just be a merger of technology. It would be a clash of philosophies. You see, Ripple and Musk might agree on the problem broken legacy finance, but they have very different ideas about the solution. Ripple's philosophy: compliance first, global liquidity later. Ripple is methodical, slow and steady. It's built for institutions, not hype cycles. They're playing a decades-long game, getting regulatory clarity, forging ties with central banks, and integrating with real-world payment corridors across the globe. Their pitch is simple. We're not replacing banks. We're upgrading them. They believe the future of finance has to be compliant, regulated, and cooperative. That's why you see Ripple constantly in dialogue with governments, winning legal battles like the one against the SEC, and expanding real-world corridors with licensed partners. Ripple is crypto's version of a Swift 2.0, but leaner, faster, and open source. Musk's philosophy: move fast, break systems. Now let's look at Elon. Musk doesn't wait for permission. He didn't ask regulators before launching Tesla's self-driving beta. He didn't consult telecom agencies before dropping 5,000 Starlink satellites into orbit. He doesn't work within systems. He overrides them. If he partners with Ripple, it won't be because he wants to help it go more slowly. It will be because he sees it as infrastructure he can hijack and scale to Mars. Yes, Mars. You think he's playing around when he talks about interplanetary payments? XRP's ledger already timestamps in UTC and doesn't rely on Earth-based banking infrastructure. If any crypto asset can settle a payment from a Mars colony to Earth, it's XRP. Musk doesn't see XRP as a financial instrument. He sees it as bandwidth for his empire. Ripple's risk: losing control. Now imagine this: Musk buys a controlling interest in Ripple Labs, or he doesn't buy Ripple but accumulates billions in XRP and builds exclusive corridors through X, Starlink, Tesla, and XAI. Suddenly, Ripple, the company that's prided itself on steady compliance, is now entangled with the most chaotic figure in global business. Investors panic. Regulators sharpen their pencils. Ripple's boardroom goes from suits and ties to Iron Man memes and Dogecoin references. The vision? Disrupted. The mission? Unclear. Even worse, Musk's very presence could undermine Ripple's years-long push for legitimacy. The SEC, IMF, or BIS could view the alliance as a Trojan horse, a rogue billionaire using a compliant protocol to route around global monetary controls. Ripple might get what it always wanted, global adoption, but at the cost of becoming Elon's plaything. Musk's risk? Betting on a chain that isn't fully his. And Elon isn't immune either. By integrating XRP, he loses control. It's not like Dogecoin, which he can manipulate freely. XRP is governed by a wide network of validators, including universities, financial institutions, and independent operators. He can't brute force changes to the protocol. He can't centralize it. He can't meme his way out of a consensus vote. And that friction, it might frustrate him. It might lead to him demanding Ripple fork the chain. Or worse, he could abandon the experiment halfway through and leave XRP's community in chaos. Because at the end of the day, Musk builds worlds, but he doesn't always stay in them. Just ask PayPal. Or OpenAI. The collision point. So what happens when Ripple's institutional focus smashes into Musk's decentralized ambitions? Maybe it works. Maybe they create the first real fusion of compliance and innovation, a payments layer that governments trust and rebels use. Or maybe it blows up. The SEC comes knocking again. Ripple fractures. Musk builds a new XRP fork called XRipple with integrated AI liquidity routing. Twitter goes feral. Either way, if these two ever enter the same arena, the world will feel it. Because love him or hate him, Musk doesn't play to take part. He plays to take over. Possibility 3. XRP goes parabolic. Then collides with regulatory fire. Let's not sugarcoat it. If Elon Musk makes a serious move on Ripple or XRP, governments will respond fast and hard. Not just the SEC. Think IMF, BIS, central banks, financial watchdogs around the world. They will not tolerate a single billionaire wiring the world's liquidity through a protocol they don't fully control. This could trigger renewed lawsuits or regulatory freezes. Political pressure to isolate XRP corridors from traditional banking systems. Geofenced bans or blacklists on wallets associated with Musk-run projects. And if Ripple caves to regulation while Musk pushes for borderless AI payments, that relationship may not survive. XRP's price could rocket, then retrace violently, depending on how deep the regulatory pushback hits. Remember, Musk moves fast. Governments don't. When those two timelines collide, there's always a flashpoint. Final take. This isn't about Musk. It's about the blueprint. Musk is just the lens. What we're really talking about is the convergence of compliant crypto infrastructure, Ripple and visionary tech empires, Musk, finally colliding at scale. It might not be Elon. Maybe it's Google. Maybe it's Apple. Maybe it's BlackRock. But when that kind of capital and innovation taps into Ripple's rails, XRP becomes inevitable. And if you're here now, watching this before the herd even sees the runway, you're ahead of the curve. If you're not subscribed to Be Crypto Smart, hit that button right now, because this channel breaks the real stories before the rest of crypto Twitter even blinks. No fluff, no hopium, just sharp analysis, hidden patterns, and deep insight into the next moves that matter. Drop a comment. Would you trust Musk with XRP's future? And if this made you see XRP differently, share it. Because the world still thinks Ripple is just another crypto company. They have no idea what's coming.